at Ardea Market Garden to show you how you can transplant young plants in small containers out into your garden, into the ground. Let's get started. If you came to dig day and you took home some plants, they may have come in a small container like this with these little cells, or a slightly larger but still small container like this. So you need to transplant or move your plants to a larger space, because this amount of space isn't large enough for the roots to expand and for the plant to get as big as you need to produce the food that you're going for. So you can either plant from this small container into a larger container, or you can plant from this small container straight into the ground, which is what I'm going to show you. And these basic principles apply too if you're nestling it into a larger container. The first step of transplanting is to dig your hole. So you can use a trowel or a shovel, or if you don't have those tools, you can use a spoon from your kitchen. And we're just digging a hole that is slightly larger than the cell or the size of the soil that I'm going to be planting into it. And we'll talk a little more about that in a minute. So I have my hole dug, and I'm going to pre-water my hole. So this soil is already a little moist because it rained overnight, but I'm just going to add a little more water into the hole and ensure that all the soil in the hole is really moist. Having a really dry hole is going to make it more difficult for your roots to expand. If you have the soil moist in your hole, it's going to encourage those roots to seek out that water and stretch out and be more comfortable in their new environment. I have my hole dug and ready to go, so I need to remove my plant from its pot. So the roots that are in here can be fairly delicate, so you want to be gentle as you're removing your plant from your pot. So you can do like some gentle squeezing of the plastic to kind of loosen things up, and then you can tilt it sideways and pull very gently from the base of the stem. This one came out really easily. I was ready to go. And now you have your plant. I have my chard plant. This is actually two different plants. You can see they're separate, but that's okay. They've been growing together, so I'm just gonna plant them together. And you can see very clearly all of the roots that have wound around the outside of this little block of soil. This is called being root bound. This is a really good signal that your plant is ready to move to a larger growing space. So this step isn't totally necessary if you're not comfortable, but a practice that I like to do is to try and loosen up these roots. And I'm being very gentle, making sure I'm not ripping them. And this is going to just encourage the roots and make it a little bit easier for them to expand and explore their new growing space instead of continuing to wind around themselves. Okay, so I'm ready to plant my chard. I'm going to put it in the center of the hole, and I'm going to hold the leaves out of the way. So I'm just burying the roots. I'm not burying the stem or the leaves. And you can see my hole is larger than the plant roots because I want to create looser soil around the plant, which again is going to encourage those roots to grow out. So I'm going to gently add soil all around the root system of the plant. And notice I'm kind of tucking it or pressing it down with my fingers, and I'm not smashing it really firmly, right? Because I still want it to be loose and aerated, but I do want to get out any big air bubbles or big spaces where water could collect around the root system. And this is going to help my plant stay upright as well. So once I'm finished, I'll know I'm finished because I won't see any roots, and I will have fully covered the top of the soil that came with the plant, but my stems and my leaves are all still above ground. Okay, so the last step after I've transplanted my chard plant is to water on the surface. I really don't need to do this too much right now because the soil is already really moist because it recently rained, but adding water after you plant is a really important step to help your plant transition to the new space. One of the most common things that can go awry as you're transplanting is not giving your plants enough water to help that transition. And you want to make sure your plants are staying moist throughout their life, especially during the transition time. Another consideration to minimize stress as you transplant is to choose a really good time of day. So right now it's overcast, it's cloudy, it's cooler. This is a great time to do transplanting. Mornings and evenings are a great time to do transplanting. You really just want to avoid like the heat of the day and planting into like bright hot sun, because that's going to add a lot of stress to your plants as well and dry them out much quicker. So I hope this video was helpful as you begin growing this season. I'll be making some more videos about harvesting and natural insect control and lots of different gardening tips. So stay tuned. You can also contact me via my email, which is in the description of this video, and I look forward to growing with you.